Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to contribute on the Tobacco Control Amendment Bill 2024. And from the onset, to congratulate Senator Muma, who serves as a member of Speaker's panel. This is a critical. Mr. Speaker, legislation is a moving target. If you have watched a movie called Moving Target or Hard Target, one of the leading lights in that movie, Mr. Speaker, is trying to get a perfect shot, but it gets moving. So in 2007, when our colleague, distinguished members of parliament, and I don't know, Mr. Speaker, you were serving then or not, because I was still fairly young then, that when they legislated, the challenge then was smoking in public and whether public places could be considered to be smoking. So, Speaker, with the advance of technology, you have to appreciate that going into the future, we'll keep legislating on matters of technology, because these electronic cigarettes, e-cigarettes, Mr. Speaker, I remember when I traveled to the US a few years ago, I was honored to have dinner with one of the senior leaders in this country. And apparently, as we were having chit-chat, that senior leader continued smoking the e-cigarette, and we didn't realize until the smoke was coming out of his nostrils or the mouth. Then we realized, we asked a friend of mine, what is this? I think we were in the famous Manhattan street in downtown of United Nations street, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I don't want to name names, but of course, that person smoked, and we didn't find it odd because it was an e-cigarette. The only time we noticed is because of the flavor that was coming out, Mr. Speaker, and we became discomfort after some time. But I think I was also in the wrong company, Mr. Speaker, because a number of us were consuming hard substances that was not definitely soda or water or milk or juice, Mr. Speaker. And after that, when I went back to my hotel room in New Jersey, I had to do serious prayers via phone with my pastor for cleansing after being in that session, which I found it unholy and unfortunate, Mr. Speaker. Well, personally, Mr. Speaker, I've never smoked in my life, and I don't think I will, because of my strict upbringing and religious background, Mr. Speaker, is we have to do what we have to do. There are people who smoke, there are others who don't smoke. But my argument, Mr. Speaker, has been this, that where your right ends, my right also begins. And I think as we legislate, we want to bring decency, discipline within the public forum, Mr. Speaker. We can't legislate on alcoholism, the issue of cigarettes, Mr. Speaker, but I want to appeal and call upon parents that we cannot legislate morals, Mr. Speaker, you are aware. Sometimes values and discipline are instilled by the parents. So even as we legislate, we can't legislate values, we can't legislate discipline, we can't legislate morals, Mr. Speaker. So it behooves us as leaders, as parents, to always be on the lookout so that we don't need to legislate on each and everything, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on this, the e-cigarette, this issue of definition has been given very well. I remember, Mr. Speaker, there was a hue and cry of the consumption of shisha, Mr. Speaker, where people were consuming in public places, and I'm happy the Ministry of Health has given regulation on smoking of shisha, Mr. Speaker. And you know, one funny thing with these people who are taking hard substances, be it cocaine, nicotine, alcohol, smoking cigarettes, Mr. Speaker, few years down the line, they will start a M-Pesa pay bill because of lung cancer, Mr. Speaker, and they want to travel to India to receive treatment, Mr. Speaker. So even as we legislate on how to enable people who smoke or drink alcohol or use other hard substances, Mr. Speaker, they should also be sure that the same individuals will burden to 80% the health infrastructure and service in this country, Mr. Speaker. Because after some years, they will get sick because of throat cancer, lung cancer, Mr. Speaker, and after some years, they will go to online and start fundraising through M-Pesa and other platforms of online fundraising, even individual fundraising, because of lack and abuse of e-cigarettes and other. Mr. Speaker, I am in agreement with National Control Against Drug Abuse, NACADA, that the consumption age of alcohol in this country should be raised to 21 years. Mr. Speaker, I also propose, and I know the mover of the owner of the bill in quotes should consider that the smoking of e-cigarettes or any other form of smoking, including shisha, should be raised to 21 years, as has been proposed by NACADA, Mr. Speaker, so that we can have a society that is well structured, a society that is this. I'm saying this, Mr. Speaker, noting the fact that this week we have a number of schools who are your guests who are attending most of these sessions, that we should raise the minimum age of consumption of alcohol and drug abuse or the consumption of e-cigarettes to 21 years, Mr. Speaker. Even, Mr. Speaker, I know there were people that were proposing that the consent of sex should be reduced to 16 years, like some European countries, but also we should raise it to 21 years instead of 18 years, so that we can arrest children marriage, Mr. Speaker, another form of abuse. And I think the Sexual Offences Act, the intent, Mr. Speaker, so that the country can know, is to protect our future generations. It doesn't make sense when you are no longer there for the future of this country in most of the young people. Mr. Speaker, and therefore the definition and vapor and the product, I agree, we need to be careful. When I was growing up, somebody who used to smoke, you could tell them from maybe their lips, Mr. Speaker, the change of the color of their teeth, and also that smell, Mr. Speaker. It's called, with your indulgence, tobacco or graiko, as one of my colleagues has put it on. You could smell from far, and my grandmother used to use the hard one, the one that was being planted in the, and you know, in the past, Mr. Speaker, there was a lot of discipline. There was a certain age where people could consume alcohol, even in Samburu and other parts. It was only senior people with a particular age, and I know it's only in Cherargei who are allowed to consume certain part of alcohol and even smoke the cigarette, Mr. Speaker. But unfortunately, everybody, Tom, Dick, and Harry, is smoking nowadays. So, Mr. Speaker, I agree that decency and morals should go back to where we are, because it was only, and I remember when I was growing up, they could get that tobacco dried in the sun, then they do the stuff and they smoke it, Mr. Speaker. I can tell you the pungent smell that used to come, you could not even sleep or even get an oxygen around you. But with this e-cigarette, the challenge is simple. It is easy to carry, Mr. Speaker. It has various flavors. If it is strawberry or vanilla, you will not notice, Mr. Speaker. So I think it is important that labeling. On the issue of taxation, because I'll just make 4 points to seed ground for my colleagues to contribute on the same. I think taxation is very clear. I think Article 114 on money bills. I think this matter has been legislated or interpreted by the Supreme Court. I think there is nowhere in the law that says Senate cannot legislate on things that concern even taxation. Because under Article 210 of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, the imposition of taxation says Parliament shall legislate. The reading of Article 93, the definition of Parliament, Mr. Speaker, is the Senate and the National Assembly. And the principle of interpretation, Mr. Speaker, of constitutionalism and constitutional, according to one of my professors, Professor Mutaha Kangu, one of the leading lights of the drafters of the Constitution, is we must interpret the Constitution in a manner, in a cohesive manner. So you cannot tell us in Article 93, Article 210, that parliaments are legislate on the issue of taxation. Then you go back and try and argue under Article 114 on money bills, Mr. Speaker. So this issue of, I agree on periodic review of taxation, progressive taxation. Of course, we don't want a retrogressive taxation, Mr. Speaker. I agree that even in their amendments, we must, in issue of periodic review of taxation, we can always look at finance bill that we normally generate. On the issue of advertisement, Mr. Speaker, I think we should ban the issue of advertising these things, Mr. Speaker. Even during watershed period, I know some people would argue from 10 the children are asleep. But the children of nowadays don't sleep. They fast, Mr. Speaker. They don't sleep because of the nature of our, I don't know, Mr. Speaker, when we were young, we used to sleep by 6. And I was told by my high school teacher, the reason poor people have so many children is because they sleep early. And the only activity they engage, of course, the juries out there will understand. So I don't know, Mr. Speaker, with the current generation, there is television, there is Netflix, there is Amazon. People are watching, and this YouTube, the internet is available. So you cannot say by 10 p.m. these youngsters are asleep. They don't sleep, especially when the schools are closed. So I think we should propose either more stricter, limit the watershed period, maybe between midnight and 4 a.m. in the morning, so that, of course, the Kenyan time, but you cannot also prevent online advertising, Mr. Speaker, because when it is daytime now, it is night in America, or when it is night in America, it is daytime, and there is different time zoning. So I think we must be very strict, Mr. Speaker, in terms of advertisement, and also in terms, I remember on the NACADA, there were proposals on alcoholic control bill, Mr. Speaker. They said they needed to ban. There were alcohol that were being sold with polythene bags and small. So I agree that we must limit the sale and the size of that e-cigarette, Mr. Speaker. And the issue of advertisement, I think we need to be careful. I know, Mr. Speaker, we need to balance raising of revenue. Maybe in Nairobi City County, the tobacco or individuals, Mr. Speaker, we are balancing between raising revenue. But I agree in the principle that you tax more luxuries over necessities. And that is why we tax more on alcohol, we tax more on cigarettes, because more are luxuries as opposed as necessities. Let us tax more the luxuries, like e-cigarettes and cigarettes generally, and alcohol, Mr. Speaker, so that we can give tax exemption to necessities like bread, unga, among other, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the third point I wanted to make is the issue of requirements. I think we agree with Senator Muma on the does not exceed 10 milligrams. I agree with this so that you don't, and the issue of health. I remember, Mr. Speaker, when the cigarettes, they used to have a prominent warning before 2007, and I think now, Mr. Speaker, even alcohol. I remember when we were growing up, there was a general, and I want to, free of charge, Mr. Speaker, this is a free advice, to owners of companies and even advertisement agencies, be simple. They used to see before when I say, taska bahada ya kazi, with a lot of indulgence, Mr. Speaker. It was a simple, but it encouraged, Mr. Speaker, and it finished a lot of challenges. Even there was another advert in Kiswahili that was used about family planning. Familia bora, jamii bora. Let us use things that is easy to sell. So even I find it weird, Mr. Speaker, when you get some of these cigarettes, the warning, they are put it so small that you might need a kaleidoscope or a very magnifying glass to read some of those statements. It should be mandatory that selling and warning should be prominent, Mr. Speaker, and I hope I have seen in a number of removable sticker and many others. Mr. Speaker, number 4, I disagree that Cabinet Secretary have been given sweeping powers, and that is clause number 14C. I think giving one individual, Mr. Speaker, those sweeping powers for approval of sale or manufacture of e-cigarettes, Mr. Speaker, is giving that Cabinet Secretary concern a lot of powers. I think what we should push for is the NACADA as a board to be given powers to approve and sell, manufacture, Mr. Speaker, and also so that NACADA should be given this power of approval, Senator, distinguished Senator Muma, that NACADA should be given opportunity to market. Let us not give powers to cabinet secretaries. Mr. Speaker, I think in the principle of French Revolution, they say absolute power corrupts absolutely. So if you give one cabinet secretary, imagine a cabinet secretary who is too religious, he might decline in approving. And we have even cults like Shakaola and many others. I've seen another one where I'm told that the husband and the wife should not sleep on the same bed, Mr. Speaker, or the children should not be fed. So if you get a cabinet secretary, God forbid, who doesn't believe in smoking, what will happen? And you know, this is somebody's business. They are Kenyans. So let us not give cabinet secretary a lot of sweeping powers. Let us give it to the board so that it is subjected. Even when you are being declined license, you can appeal, Mr. Speaker. Also on this, even advertisement, an approval process, let us give it to the board called National Control Alcoholic Board, or even another board. There are so many boards that can do it. Even we can come up with a board where Ministry of Health, Cabinet Secretary nominates, NACADA nominates, counties nominates, so that we have a balance, Mr. Speaker, so that Mr. Speaker, I saw there were issue of banning products by Tanzanian government of Kenyan products, Mr. Speaker. I hope they will include also the issue of e-cigarettes and selling among East Africa, Mr. Speaker. While the principle of banning businesses is not good, because it is not good, it violates the East Africa trade protocols, because we need to encourage each other. We need to interdepend. And you saw President William Ruto and President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the elder of East Africa, having a conversation of trade. So what Tanzania did is quite unfortunate, because we live, Mr. Speaker, I know of senior government officials for Tanzania who their children are schooling in Kenya. So if you start creating boundaries like colonials did, Mr. Speaker, you might need to ban even them from getting the schools. I think what they should have banned, Mr. Speaker, is to ban the ill-behaved activists who went to disrupt their peace. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of this is banning because the cabinet secretary, can we put a board? So that, you know, there is unfair competition in business. You remember, Mr. Speaker, I was in a primary campus then, and there was a lot of hue and cry. I know Senator Katuri might have been around then, Mr. Speaker, and there were accusations that members of parliament were being taken by an agency interested with violating the tobacco bill then. They were taken to Mombasa for retreat. And what came out was hue and cry. So we don't want, Mr. Speaker, to give it to one power so that they can abuse. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, is on the issue of advertisement, so that, Mr. Speaker, is on the issue of places. I'm happy that institutions of basic education, so teachers should be aware of this. I know there are a number of teachers who are accompanying students before us. Mr. Speaker, they should be aware. I know some of them might be smoking, Mr. Speaker. They should be aware that you cannot smoke in basic education training, places of worship, of course, Mr. Speaker. I don't think anyone would want to smoke in places of worship, unless that's a different place, because I know mosques and churches, people rarely smoke. The only smoke you are allowed is the smoke of Holy Spirit. Mr. Speaker, on hospitals, clinics, and other health institutions, I think it doesn't make sense, Mr. Speaker, to children's home, children care facility, children playgrounds, I agree. Mr. Speaker, what I found it weird is residential houses. So if the father and mother are smoking, what will happen to the children, and they are living in the same room? How will we enforce that, Senator Muma? I think you will teach us. Or will the children be reporting that dad and mom are smoking, and therefore, I don't know, it's a bit dicey to implement that one. I don't know what you are thinking around it. Maybe when you do reply, you can educate us. Because I know parents who maybe, in fact, Mr. Speaker, when you go to some family homes, they even have a cabinet. They have prepared a cabinet where they stock hard substances that is not milk or water or anything that is near there. On public service vehicles, Mr. Speaker, I agree. On police cells, Mr. Speaker, I don't know if there is anybody who smokes in police cells. I thought cigarettes are contraband, because I used to chair JLAC, and I was remanded in committee on a number of police stations, Mr. Speaker. I never saw it. Mr. Speaker, with those many remarks, allow me to support at that point. Thank you.
Before I call the next senator to take on the floor, allow me to make this communication. I'd like to acknowledge the presence in the public gallery this afternoon of visiting teachers and students from St. Mary Nyangwa Girls Secondary School in Embu County. The delegation comprises 60 students